So I finished high school. I was a tremendous student, and I graduated third in my class from the bottom. In fact, I'm introducing a congressman. We went to high school together, and it was so much fun because we've known each other since high school. And I said, we both were third in the class. He was third from the top, I was third from the bottom. I had a 185 ACUME. In the United States, we have a 4-point ACUME. That's a D+ average if your glass is half full. So I went to the University of Cincinnati my freshman year because it's the only school that would accept me by state law. What's my major? I don't know. I decided to take sociology as my undergrad because it was the easiest stuff I could find. And I got out of college and going, what am I going to do with my life? I have no idea. But I want to sell medical supplies because I put myself through school. I played a musician in a band. I'm a drummer. And then I also, wedding bands, weddings, things like that. And then I sold men's clothing. One of my clients owned a medical laboratory. And he says, hey, you're a good salesperson. Want to sell for us? Sure. And so I get out of college. I'm thinking, what do I want to do? I want to sell medical supplies. Why? That's what I did to put myself through school. It's funny because most people, if I asked you, what do you do? And I asked you, what do you want to do? It's two different things. A lot of times we don't follow our dreams. We take our first job. Maybe you can't get a job, so you go to a bank. Well, now you're in banking. Maybe you didn't want to be in banking. And well, the next job we look for is because we felt comfortable with that. So I get out of college, and I can't get a job. Everybody is rejecting me. I'm going to these big hospital supply companies like American Hospital Supply, Ethicon, Ethicare. They're all rejecting me. And when you're 21 years old, it's like having a drain on my back. And they're slowly draining out my confidence, little by little. So I go to my guidance counselor at the university. He goes, Hal, you need markability. I got markability. He goes, no, you need discipline. I got discipline. He goes, Hal, you are the Cliff Notes version of life. If there's a shortcut, if there's a way to modify a program, you do that. You're always looking for the easy way. You're a street kid. So he goes, Hal, I'm going to get you an interview at IBM, Procter & Gamble, and AT&T, all big companies, and you have to stay 1 year. And then you get some marketability, then you can do what you want. They rejected me also. And right across the hall from me, some guy said, hey, Hal, why don't you go work for Xerox? Xerox selling copiers. I don't know if there's anything lower on the food chain. I don't want to sell copiers. And I took the interview because I got rejected, but I had nothing going on. It was around the end of September, and everybody started getting jobs. And I remember I got interviewed. It was like 7 interviews. And I finally got hired, and I thought, okay, I'll take the job. I'll just take the job, but I'll stay a short period of time until I could sell medical supplies. And that's when we went to our training school. It was 5 weeks in the branch of studying, Xerox and xerography and the history of Xerox, okay, all that junk. Then you had to go into our training school in Leesburg in Virginia, 3 weeks. 21 days, 6 days a week, 12 to 14 hours a day of role playing. And all of a sudden I got hooked on the science of selling. So here's why I'm telling you that to get to the part. So I stayed at Xerox only 5 years, worked my way up to sales training, sales management. But then I started my own company. And I started a company called Direct Opinions. That would be nothing to you. But if you took your car into a dealership in the United States and they called to see if you were satisfied with the service or Canada, that was my company. And I started off out of the second floor of my house, and I started knocking on doors, what I learned at Xerox, just work hard. And I was in business about 3 weeks. I remember it was Christmas Eve of 1982, and I felt like I got kicked in the stomach. I do a lot of sit-ups and push-ups. I pulled a muscle, no big deal. And I waited about 3.5 months to go to the doctor because I thought I was pulled muscles. I go to the doctor, and they go, congratulations, Hal, you've got terminal cancer. You have over 40 tumors in your abdomen, your chest, and your brain. You're what we call stage 3 cancer. The problem is there's no program for you. There's an experimental program going through the University of Indiana, and if you do go through this program, you're probably not going to make it. We'll give you 2 months, 3 months on the outside. If you do get through it, you're going to be violently ill, and you're probably going to die of infection because your white count will be down to 0, and you'll have nothing to fight off any type of infection. So, make a long story short, I spent 8.5 months in the hospital undergoing chemotherapy. It was experimental at the time. I'm one of the lucky ones. I beat cancer. People say, what caused you to beat cancer? My opinion is conventional medical practice. The chemotherapy saved my life. Today, would it be barbaric? Sure. Leeches are barbaric, but they used those in medieval times. 100 years from now, 50 years from now, chemotherapy will be just as barbaric. Putting, Drano, drugs in your body that kills many things, just not the cancer. So why I tell you this story is I'm one of the fortunate ones, but I tell you for two reasons. When I was sick, I had two options. Feel sorry for myself and complain, or I made a game out of it. And I remember three things distinctively, because somebody just reminded me of this over the weekend. Sunday, somebody was telling me about, I forgot I did that. I used to wrap myself in a sheet the days that I felt good, and I did the greatest imitation of Gandhi you can ever possibly see. I should take my IV pole and walk around the hospital. Some nurses followed me. Oh, follow me. I'm 83 pounds. I don't have a stitch of hair on my body. One time I came home, I wasn't in my house for over 5 months because I was in the hospital. I came home, and while I was in the hospital, Post-it notes got invented. I never saw a Post-it note. I come home, there's yellow sticky things all over my house. I look, it says, Hal, when you die, I get the TV, Gary. Hal, when you die, I get the refrigerator, Nancy. Don got my car. My Stouffer's frozen foods were tagged. My whole house was tagged with little Post-it notes. What are you going to start doing? Laughing. So I made a decision when I was sick, I'm going to laugh. I'm going to laugh. And I'm going to enjoy myself. So with what you just said, I'm going to bring a picture up. This is me in 1983. I'm 83 pounds here. The burn marks on my shoulder, my elbows, my knees, I'm dying. I've got about 2 months to live, 2.5 months. About, 3 days later, I lost every stitch on my body. I have no cut, no definition. I am 55 pounds lighter than I am now there. So why do I tell you that story? Very simple. Just what you said. Just what you said. How much you're enjoying everything. All of a sudden, well, if I could do this, if I can do this. What about the moment? What about right now? I want to enjoy this moment. That's why, as I said, I stood on the bridge and enjoyed the moment. I enjoyed talking to as many of you as I could. Sure, could I be alone and get my emails, get my work done? There's always time for work. There's not time for people. People back there in the bookstores, I'm looking at those books. I'm telling you, get some of those books. I've read a third of those. They're unbelievable. But the gentleman in the back to the right, he's the guy who has less hair than me. I get to say that because I'm bigger than him, I think, which is kind of amazing because I'm like this tall. But he said something. He goes, Hal, we're talking about books. And he goes, it's kind of amazing that you get to change someone's view if they read a book or they see something differently. Not for 1 second am I not going to take what I do with unbelievable humility and candor. But having one person listen to you and do something, I return every single email, every phone call. I don't care how many I get. It doesn't matter because if someone took the time to write me, just say thank you, or even to complain. That's still your opinion, and I've got mine. Doesn't mean I'm going to disagree with you or agree with you, but the fact that we up here get to speak and maybe help you if, as you said, you decide to help yourself. So yeah, I don't want to move that mountain. I don't want to change anything. I want to enjoy each moment of it. So